5:14 a.m. The Caribbean is flat, wind almost zero, or simply non-existent. Aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer in international transit. Nothing yet signals what is about to begin in exactly a few seconds. Then a radar contact hardens on the screen. Surface contact, bearing 218, distance 42,000 yards. No alert, not yet. Just one more piece of data among others. The destroyer holds course at 19 knots, international rules of the road. 42,000 yards north of the Venezuelan coast. Routine transit, normal watch rotation. Then the contact accelerates. 26 knots correction. 28. This is no longer routine. 12 seconds later, a second echo appears. Same profile, same course. A third follows. 3 contacts. Tight spacing. A formation is taking shape. The tactical display refines the geometry in real time. The lead ship inclines 5 degrees to starboard. Not crossing, not paralleling. Intercepting. Closest point of approach, sepia, calculated at 3,800 yards and decreasing. On the bridge, the officer of the deck does not raise his voice. Log the maneuver. Maintain course. No political commentary, no speculation, just protocol. The destroyer spy radar continues sweeping. Electronic support measures begin passive collection. Frequency analysis confirms emissions consistent with the Russian naval surface search radar. Low power. Not yet fire control mode. Visual confirmation pending. Long-range optics are activated. Thermal signatures flicker against the marine heat haze. Steel hull. Gray superstructure. Russian Federation naval ensign visible at the stern. Russian warship confirmed. The second and third contacts align behind the leader. This is not random traffic. Coordinated movement. The lead ship now reaches 29 knots. The Caribbean remains silent. No siren, no shout. Inside Combat Information Center, CHIC, the air thickens. Updated sepia, 3,100 yards. Time to sepia, 9 minutes. The commanding officer steps onto the starboard bridge wing. Steady twin lookouts. Condition I. Man key stations. Metallic sounds below decks. Watertight doors secured. Lookouts adjust posture. The 127mm gun turret rotates 2 degrees right to port. Subtle, deliberate, visible but not aimed, not locked, just looking. Radio call, bridge to bridge on open maritime frequency. Russian warship bearing 218. This is a United States warship in legal international transit. State your intentions. Silence. 10 seconds. 20. Second call, slower cadence. Russian warship, you are closing at high speed. Alter course immediately. Nothing. The Russian lead ship increases to 30 knots. Wake widens, white on blue. The second ship eases slightly outward, widening the approach angle. The third holds position astern. Triangular geometry. Sepia now, 2,400 yards. Inside CHIC, no one speculates on intent. They log bearing changes, speed increments, radar pulse intervals. Electronic warfare specialist reports, surface search radar, scan tightening. Still no fire control signature. That line matters. The destroyer holds 19 knots. No evasive turn, no acceleration. Restraint is deliberate. At 18,000 yards optics sharpen further. Personnel visible on the Russian lead ship. Movement near forward turret. No guns trained observed. Helmets on. Personnel in position. Caribbean sun glints off steel and green paint. Sepia 2,000 yards. Russian formation tightens again. Lead ship cuts 2 degrees to port, narrowing the intercept. Time to sepia, 6 minutes. On the bridge the co speaks quietly, prepare aviation. Below, flight deck crews move without rush but without hesitation. Chocks and chains removed. Fuel lines pressurize. At 12,000 yards the Russian radar briefly surges in power, then stabilizes. They are tracking. EW officer reports, surface search only. No missile guidance signature, no designation beam. But the Russian lead ship now dominates the forward optical display. Hull number gray, sharp and clear. Bow slicing hard through water. Sepia 1,600 yards. Bridge remains silent except for measured announcements. Destroyer's course line stays straight. No flinching. At 8,000 yards the triangle is nearly formed. 1 ship ahead. 1 wide on starboard. 1 trailing. Encircling without contact, 3 Russian warships. 1 American destroyer. Rapid closure. No one blinks. 5:21. 6,000 yards. Russian lead ship increases again. 31 knots confirmed in CHIC. Surface intercept maximum speed. Bow wave thickens. Exhaust haze trails low along the waterline. Second ship widens to starboard, holding the angle. Third maintains rear. Not random. Calculated. Sepia 1,400 yards. Time to Sepia 4 minutes. On the bridge, no raised voices. Maintain course. Restraint deliberate. If the destroyer turns first, it yields the narrative. If it accelerates, it escalates the geometry. Stable course is intentional. Russian flanker cuts sharply, 8 degrees toward the destroyer's projected track. Risk of collision by proximity. Sepia 600 yards. Inside Chick, every bearing update is logged to the second. SH-60 Seahawk positions itself between destroyer and tightening flanker. Rotor wash flattens water at 50 feet altitude. Helicopter's green laser pulses briefly, precisely across Russian bridge windows. Not a weapon lock. A signal. Russian flanker abruptly reduces speed. 27-23 knots. Wake shortens. Miscalculation avoided or reconsidered, but radar pulses again. Narrow beam. 5 seconds. Destroyer's SLQ-3 to captures the signature cleanly. Frequency, duration, power level, all archived. Still no fire control lock. Still no missile seeker tone. 5:31. Lead ship corrects to degrees to port. Flanker widens slightly starboard. Triangle begins to stretch. Sepia stabilizes at 600 yards. From the bridge, sailors see faces on the Russian deck. Binoculars raised, cameras visible. They are recording too. Seahawk transmits again. Russian warship, you are conducting dangerous maneuvers. Alter course. This time the Russians reply. American warship, we are conducting routine operations. Maintain your distance. No apology, no admission, but communication is established. Destroyer answers immediately. You have altered course toward us. Dangerous maneuver logged. Silence. 15 seconds. Only wind across microphones and faint engine vibration. Then radar emission drops. No more narrow beams detected. Flanker reduces to 21 knots. Lead ship stabilizes at 22. Third ship trails, no longer tightening the arc. Sepia increasing, 800 yards and climbing. Closest point of approach passed. No collision alarm, no missile launch, no flare. Just steel hulls less than a kilometer apart, separated by discipline and recorded data. 5:3. Seahawk climbs to 90 m, widening its orbit. Commanding officer lowers binoculars. Continue transit. But danger not over. Starboard flanker accelerates again, 27 knots. Bearing shifting 5 degrees inward. Sepia recalculating 600 yards. Inside Chick, no reaction beyond confirmation. On bridge, Co remains firm. Helmsman, maintain course 085. No defensive turn, no acceleration. Destroyer speed remains 19 knots. This stability is not passive, it is deliberate. A sudden maneuver now, by either side, would compress the margin to seconds. Russian flanker closes lateral gap. Bow slicing across projected track. Time to Sepia, 1 minute 30 seconds. Seahawk descends to 60 m, sliding forward slightly inward. Orbit tightens just enough to remain visible between steel hulls. Thermal imagery captures Russian crew moving along port railing. No weapons raised, no missile doors open, but posture matters. EW specialist speaks calmly. Surface search radar active. No fire control signal. The line still holds. 5:34. Flanker executes sharper cut, 8 degrees to port. Sepia 500 yards. 1,000 meters. At combined closing speeds over 90 kilometers, that's less than 60 seconds of reaction time. From the bridge wing, sailors watch the Russian hull cleave white water. Windows reflecting sun. Antenna rotating. The 127mm turret remains offset, not directly pointed, not at rest. A lookout says softly, recommends a slight course adjustment. The commander doesn't hesitate. Negative. Maintain discipline. If the destroyer turns now, it surrenders navigational control. If it turns toward them, it escalates. Hold course steady. The burden of responsibility remains on the approaching vessel. The Seahawk dips slightly lower. Rotor wash visible on the water. It holds position between the tightening vectors. The helicopter crew transmits once more. Russian vessel, dangerous maneuver. Alter course immediately. 5 seconds. 10. Then reduction in speed observed. The flanker drops from 27 to 23 knots. Wake shortens. Bow angle corrects to degrees outward. Closest point of approach stabilizing at 0.5 nautical miles. The nearest water, half a mile of separation between naval hulls and international transit. The lead ship also reduces speed, now at 21 knots. The third vessel steadies in trail. The triangle dissolves. No collision, no flares, no warning shots. Only the sound of engines and rotor blades slicing Caribbean air. 535. Closest point of approach begins to open. 0.6 miles and widening. The Seahawk climbs to 90 meters, widening its orbit to confirm separation. Inside the chick, data keeps streaming in. Emission log saved. Bearing changes time-stamped. Speed changes plotted. Laser designator pulses documented. Video feeds archived. Nothing is wasted. The Russians transmit again. We are conducting lawful operations. No aggression in the tone. No retreat either. The destroyer replies evenly. Dangerous maneuver recorded. Continue safe navigation. Professional language. No commentary. The Russian flanker leans further outward, now parallel instead of converging. Distance increasing, 0.8 miles. The moment of highest risk has passed, but no one relaxes yet. The destroyer holds the same course, same speed, no deviation. It does not celebrate the avoided proximity. It continues the transit. Overhead, the Seahawk makes one final low pass along the Russian starboard side. Cameras capture hull numbers, crew posture, radar bays. Documentation is its own form of deterrence. 537. Distance now 1 mile and opening. The Russian ships fall into a loose trailing pattern, astern and on the destroyer's quarters. No more interception. Shadowing. The geometry has shifted from challenge to presence. Inside the chick, the commander speaks quietly. Resume normal watch posture. Keep aviation orbiting. No order to escalate. No announcement of withdrawal. Just transition. The Caribbean appears calm again, but for 4 minutes, steel hulls operated less than a kilometer apart, at combined speeds exceeding 70 kilometers per hour. That margin is thinner than it appears on a chart. And it held, because one side refused to move first. 541. Distance 1.2 miles and opening. The Russian formation has broken from intercept geometry. The lead ship trails on the destroyer's port quarter. The former flanker now runs parallel, offset to starboard. The third remains in trail, shadowing posture. No more convergence. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tactical display clears of red vectors. Bearing lines diverge. Speed indicators stabilize. Russian contacts now on parallel course. Speed, 20 knots. The destroyer holds 19. No acceleration. No deviation. No retreat. On the bridge, the commander gives one instruction. Continue the transit. And then it happens. Instead of adjusting away from the Russian ships, instead of widening the gap, the destroyer maintains its plotted track straight through the space their intercept had created. Deliberate passage. The gap between the Russian lead ship and its former flanker remains open, just wide enough. The projected track cuts between the contacts at 1.5 miles. The chick reports. No pause. Course steady. Engine RPM constant. The destroyer advances.